Hello, my most amazing artists. We're going to be doing optical illusion weaving. You wove in first grade and in second grade, and you learned basic weaving techniques. Now we're going to increase the difficulty level just a tiny bit and show you some other ways so that you can get more than just straight lines when you weave. And it's actually pretty easy to do. So here's some examples that I've done. They'll be hanging on the board for you to look at. This one has a straight line and a zigzag line pattern. This one is different, not curved, but straight angled lines. It's another one. And then one with curved lines. So these are all some ideas. You can create your own. Please don't think that you have to copy mine. In fact, I don't want you to copy mine. I want you to do something completely unique to you. Here's how we're gonna set up our loom. There are a couple terms that I'm gonna use in this video, and I'm also gonna use white paper so you can see my marks instead of the black paper that you're gonna be using. Okay, so there are a couple terms I'm gonna use. One of them is your loom. That's this piece of paper. The loom is what you weave on. You also have these things, which are called the weft. W-E-F-T is weft. And the way to remember this is when you weave with weft, they move weft to right. Get it? Weft to right. Okay, so these are called the weft. And then the actual cuts that we make in here to make our lines, these are called the warp threads. So those are my terms. My loom, my weft, that move weft to right, and then my warp are going to be on here. So when you make your loom, you're going to fold your paper in half so that it's going to be tall in front of you, it's going to be vertical. You could call this a hamburger style fold. You want to match up your corners. And you're going to have a bigger piece of paper, but my camera is close to my thing here, so I don't have a big piece of paper. Works just the same. So here's the start. You're then gonna take a ruler, and you've got to make sure you mark this on the right end. I'm gonna be working here on the end that is open. So I'm gonna lay the ruler down, and I'm gonna measure my finger and then make my line as wide as my finger. That's a pretty good measurement. I'm gonna draw a line, hold the ruler. If you hold the ruler here and you start making your line, this is gonna move. When you hold a ruler, you have to hold it so that it doesn't move. So I've got a finger here and a finger here. All right, so this is called my stop line. I am not going to cut past this line. I'm going to cut to this line, but not past this line. Then you're gonna make a curvy line pattern. When I did mine, oh, I left them over here. Let me grab them. I have these hanging up in the room too. When you do your looms, these are some ideas. This is the pattern that I used for this one, because everything is folded in half when you're first working with it. We have wavy lines. We have this one. This zigzag and straight line is how I made this one. So you're gonna have to experiment a little bit. On this one, let's see, I'm gonna do something that I can cut really easily. So I'm gonna do, and then a straight line. And notice I'm starting at my stop line right here and going all the way to the bottom. Okay, this you are now going to cut. So I'm cutting from the folded edge to my stop line. Okay, there is my loom that is cut. Now when I open it up, because it was cut on the fold, it's going to be folded all the way through. These are my warp threads. This is what I'm gonna be weaving into. When you weave, okay, so I have some weft. You saw that I had them. Remember, they move weft to right. To weave, it's an alternating pattern. You're gonna have to find the way that works the best for holding the loom for you. I prefer to hold it in my left hand because I'm right-handed. When you weave, it's an over, under, over, under, over, under pattern the whole way. So I'm gonna start this very first warp thread. I call them threads. It's a warp because usually weaving is done with yarn or fabric of some sort. So I'm gonna go over this one, under my second one, over my third warp thread, under my fourth, over, under, over, under, and then over my last one. So there's my very first weaving. Your next one is going to start the opposite way. So I started going over my first warp thread here. So this weft has to start under. See how I'm going under this one? So under, over, under, over, under, over, over, under, over. All right, so there's my second one. You can see the pattern is starting to take shape. I'm gonna go back to purple. Now, if you make a mistake, I'm gonna purposefully make a mistake so you can see. If you accidentally weave it the same way, they will not stack up. See how these are exactly the same? It'll just go right on top because it's woven the same way. My next one should start over. I'm going over this warp thread, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay, so there's my pattern. You're gonna be able to use a whole bunch of different colors. You want to move your weft. You don't want it out like this. You want to keep, you saw me just kind of tap them. You want your weft nice and snug. So I'm gonna move it over, kind of tap it a little bit with my finger to get it nice and snug. You can create colorful patterns. You can do a color scheme. You can do rainbow, you can do mermaid colors, you can do galaxy colors, whatever you want. The colors of your favorite baseball team, the colors of your favorite soccer team, I don't care. Your family's favorite colors, awesome. But you're gonna get to choose your color scheme. Now this one I'm gonna scoot a tiny bit over and get it real nice and snug. Okay, when you're totally done, your paper is gonna be as wide as your weft, so it will line up real nicely like these do. You're gonna take a dot of glue, and I do mean a dot. Go underneath. See how this one's at the end right here? Go underneath, put a tiny dot on each weft. Tiny, tiny dot. No gluey glue monsters. Just a dot, not a lot. So on both sides. 1, 2. And you should only have to do it on one side because once you glue it down on one side, it's not gonna move on the other side either because it's glued. This is what we're doing today. You guys are gonna rock it out. Come up with a color pattern. Come up with some sort of geometric, awesome loom shape. If you need help with the over-under pattern, please ask because we want you to get it. We want you to be really successful with this. Here we go.